Hey, hi all, welcome back to the channel again. Today we are going to discuss about attribute directives. And Angular provides us ngClass, ngStyle and ngModel. These three as attribute directives. So we have learned ngModel in the last video, the second part of bindings, right? And we have learned style binding and class binding in that video. So this video we will look into ngClass and ngStyle only because ngModel we have actually explained it in the last video. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go and watch that binding second part video, right? So now let's look at some example of ngClass first. So this is actually a paragraph I have created to showcase the examples. So let's use the square brackets because this is the attribute directives, right? So ngClass we will use, and now we want to use a string variable for this. Let's say CSS class is equal to test. So we have created a class named test in the app.css, right? So now let me add this CSS class variable to this, and as you can see, the color has been changed over here. The CSS class has been applied, as you can see over here. Now there are another ways how we can apply the CSS class. So this is a text expression. So if you want to add more classes, you can add more like this, test1, test2. So let's take an example of that. Let's say I want to add more classes, test1, test2, like this. So I can do that as well using a string. So as you can see, test1 and test2 classes added. Apart from this, there are multiple ways also to add multiple classes. So let's say CSS class variable, let's assign an array to it. Okay, and now inside array let's add test, then comma, test1, comma, test2. So let's save this, and you can see no difference. Test1, test2 and test3, sorry, test1 and test2 and test, these three classes has been added. Another way of it is actually nothing but we can make use of a record generic type. So we will use the same example of type record string and boolean. The type for key is nothing but string, and the type for value is nothing but boolean, right? So let's say we want to add test, so let's make its value as a true. We want to add test1 as well, so let's say true, and then we don't want to add test2, so let's make it false. So if I save everything, test and test1 has been added, test2 has been skipped because the value for it is nothing but false. Now conditional thing you can do, right? Applying classes conditionally as well. So let's say we have a variable where temp of value, let's say false initially. So I can check that if temp where this dot where temp has value true, then add its value this dot temp where over here, else make it false. Okay, so right now the value for temp val is false, so it will fall into else condition, and false will get assigned to test1. So that's the reason test1 will not display over there. As you can see, only test class has been displayed because we do have a false value for test2 as well. So let's make the variable true, and you can see the test1 class has been added right now. Okay, so this is how you can add classes, add or remove classes conditionally as well. So if you want to add this thing into template, so you can just copy this, you can add that over here as well, right? You need to just copy and add it over here. Save everything. You can see same result, no difference. Test and test1 has been added, but over here, so there is a catch actually. So you can omit the use of this, or if you want to use, you can use it, because in a template we can access the properties directly. Okay, so this is how it is. So if you want to add classes conditionally, you can add that as well. So this is all about ngClass. So let's look at the ngStyle now. So these are four types using which we will add the ngStyles, or we will bind the ngStyle, ngClass, the attribute directive. Okay, so now let's bind the attribute directive ngStyle. So for this we do have a variable. Let's take a variable. Let's add a variable called styles, assign a value, let's say color as red. Let's assign this over here, and if you see, it gives me error if I assign a string to it, right? Because if you look at the structure of a class, it has starting curly brackets and ending curly brackets, right? So this directive expects the value, because if you think of if you look at the binding second part video, there we have learned style binding. So in the style binding, we were giving the plain text as well, right? But now uh, ngStyle as a directive, it doesn't allow to add or assign a simple string to it. So what we can do over here, let's wrap this inside curly brackets. That's it. And yeah, that's it. Okay, what it is saying, color red. Okay, like this. So we want to add or wrap both key and its value into string, right? So you can see here, let's save this ngStyles. You can see the color has been changed. Now it is a red color. Okay, so if you want to apply multiple styles, you can do the same thing over here. Instead of adding one object, you can do like this. Font size, maybe we can use 24 pixels. Let's save this, and the font size also has been added to this paragraph. Now let's look at other examples. Let me give you the object example of record. So let's use record. The type for key is nothing but string, and the type for value is also string in this case. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just copy paste these two styles over here, save everything. There is no difference. Color is red and font size is 24. Okay, so this is how you can do. And now how we can achieve the conditional rendering, sorry, a conditional style. So we can bind the conditional styles to ngStyle directive as well, as we have done for the ngClass. So what we can use, we can make use of this same variable, this dot temp. If this dot temp is there, then apply red, else apply yellow. Like this we can do. So right now the value of temp is true, so that's the reason red will get applied. Right now, as you can see, color is red. So let's make the value of var temp as false, and let's look at the example. So as you can see, the color has now changed to yellow, right? So this is how you can apply conditionally styles as well. Now if you want to do same thing on a template, so you can simply do the same thing over here. So let me do like this. Color, if var temp value is true, then red, else apply yellow, then comma, the other property font size 24 pixels. Okay, so this is how you can apply the same thing on the template as well conditionally. So right now the value is false, that's the reason you are able to see the yellow color. But now let me change the value of it. Let's make it true. Now the color will change to red, right? So this is how we can handle, or dynamically we can apply styles based on some boolean values or any conditions from the TypeScript, and we can use same variables on a template as well. Or if you want to wrap this everything inside a function, you can do that as well, right? So let me wrap this. I'll take the CSS class example first. So let me wrap this inside a function. So let's say get CSS class. Let's declare this variable on top, or maybe we can directly return. We can directly return like this, no issues. If you want to add something, or maybe you can, if you want to type it, you can type it. You can make it as record of type string and boolean. Okay, so this is how you can typecast. And by the way, this is a TypeScript part. It is nothing but a one way of type assertion. Okay, so if I save it, and if I let me use ngClass over here instead of it, and let's call a method over here. Okay, so save it. You can see the test class has been added, right? So as you can see in the function as well, the test class is true, and the value for temp is true. So that's the reason test1 also gets added. As you can see over here, test1 also gets added. The same thing you can do with the styles as well. Let's use the same method. Instead of CSS class, um, okay, there is a typo. Okay, double S. Get CSS class. Instead of get CSS class, what we can do, we can just write down a function get CSS styles like this, and we will again return this one as record of type string comma string. Okay, get CSS styles we need to call over here, and instead of ngClass we'll use ngStyle. Let's save everything. As you can see, the inline styles has been added, color red, and font size is 24. So let me make the value of let me make the value of tempware as a false. Let's say we are making it false. If I save thing, the color has been changed to yellow now. Okay, so this is how you can do. I mean, there are multiple ways. You have learned in the style binding, right, and a class binding. Then component styles video is there, a dedicated video, like how many ways you can add styles to a particular components. I have I've explained you all ways over there as well in that video. And in the last video, binding second part, I have explained the same thing, the style binding and class binding as well. And in this video we have learned ngClass and ngStyle. For ngModel you need to look into the binding second video. Okay, so the major differences, let me tell you the differences between class binding and style binding and ngClass and ngStyle. The major difference is the ngStyle is attribute directive Angular provides us. Okay, and about the class binding and style binding, we are binding the native attributes of a particular element. The class is a native attribute, style is a native attribute. So we are binding the native attributes, but here we are using the ngStyle to bind the styles. Okay, and this is a nothing but a directive. At the end it is doing the same thing, it is binding the native style element only. So it we can say it's just a kind of a wrapper on top of style binding. So if I change it like style, you will see the same result, right? You will see the same result, no differences into that. And again, like if I uncomment this get CSS class and comment it or call it on the UI, so let's say get CSS class, and over here instead of ngClass, if I bind the class the native attribute, right, no difference as you can see. Okay, let me save everything. Right, so the class test has been added over here. Okay, the inline styles has been removed now because we are using class binding. The major difference is, the purpose of showing this is nothing but just to clarify the major difference between that. The basic or major difference is nothing but this works as a attributes, the ngStyle and ngClass, and this works as a purely attribute binding. Okay, and ngClass and ngStyles are nothing but a layer, a top layer, for the class or style attribute binding. That's the reason we call them as a directive. So this is all about the differences, and I hope you have liked this video. If you like it, so you can hit like button on the video, and you can share this video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon, and please choose all option from the bell icon menu, action menu, and let's meet in next video. Thanks all guys.